Hey everyone, it's Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Business Bootcamp Podcast. If you have questions on how to start, grow, or save your business, you've come to the right place. And today, I'm going to be sharing about some of the stuff that I'm going through as a small business owner, and hopefully you can take away something from it. We want to say a big thank you to today's sponsor, which is cashflowtool.com. You got to check it out. It's by a company called Finagraph. And if you go to cashflowtool.com/bootcamp, you're going to get a specialized offer for just us podcast listeners if you're here on the show. And it's going to talk about all the different features that you can get from using the Cashflow tool. It integrates with QuickBooks. So if you have QuickBooks, this is definitely something you want to check out. Not only is it available on your computer, but also on your mobile device, and allows you to track basically all the different times that you get paid, and it really keeps you from having unexpected bills, times when you run out of cash, things that pop up in your business many times that, when do you get paid? When do you have big expenses? When are those ebbs and flows of cash flow in your business? And so you can have a heat map of when the different shortfalls are in your cash flow and know when to prepare for those coming forward. So you definitely want to check it out. It's cashflowtool.com/bootcamp. They're giving us a free trial and a discounted price if you use their monthly service. So it's absolutely fantastic. It gives you an activity feed and really detects anomalies, and a great place for communication with your team as far as cash flow, expenses, etc. Definitely want to check it out. So go to cashflowtool.com/bootcamp. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different, and I know some people really like this format, and then some people aren't such a fan. And basically, this is the part of the show where one of the episodes of the show where I just kind of talk about what I've been up to, and hopefully, for some of you, say this is the biggest learning part for you. It's a real experience as I go through my career, and so hopefully it'll help somebody out there. And right now, like in one word, I guess, burnout. I don't really burn out, but I definitely get tired. And this time of year has definitely been that. And I don't really necessarily get burnt out because of lack of sleep or stress or things like that. It's more like this, and when I say stress, I don't mean like I'm not stressed out. It's just that the stress that I feel right now this time of year is stress of letting down my customers and letting down my team. And so we are so incredibly busy with my landscaping company, and we're hiring new people every week, which is great. But we're falling behind on big jobs, and at the same time, I have other stuff going on. As you know, I'm acquiring a gym. I am, involved with the podcast, with the course. We started the conference in January, so check that out, landscapebusinesscourse.com/conference if you're a landscaper. But I've launched that, and so people have started to sign up for that. And it's just been a lot of stuff going on, and then at the same time, you don't want to drop any of the balls, obviously, right? So still trying to post weekly here on the Business Bootcamp podcast, trying to post weekly on the podcast and video channel for Landscape Business Course. Obviously trying to go through this acquisition process with the gym, having some trouble with the landlord right now, but we'll get it ironed out. It's just, more time, and just making sure it all goes through smoothly. And then the conference has been an absolute, I've never done that before. So getting the speaker set up, getting it set up with the hotel, and now starting to sell tickets has been a ride. And it literally is it could be a full-time job. The podcast could be a full-time job. Running the landscaping company could be a full-time job, and being a gym owner can be a full-time job. So trying to kind of balance all of those out has been tough. And the only reason that is because the landscaping company is so busy right now that I've been kind of drug into the day-to-day operations, like 14 hours a day right now. And that's obviously something I don't want to be doing, but it's something that is necessary because we're growing so quickly. If I don't get, in the day-to-day operations as far as hiring and things like that right now, things would be, definitely getting dropped. So not optimally where I want to be as far as how I spend my day and things, but it's just part of the journey. And it teaches you patience, and it teaches you how to really put down in your head and just grind. And days like today, for instance, you wake up and 16 hours later you are back in your room, back same place, and then just rinse and repeat, and trying to fit in the podcast and answering all of you that ask questions is definitely a challenge, and something that I try to do, and I love to do it, and it's something that I make sure I try to get back to everyone eventually. But it's a balancing act, right? And I really believe that's really the essence of being a small business owner, regardless of whether or not you have multiple businesses, is a balancing act. It's a balance of how much time do you spend on hiring, how much do you spend on sales versus customer service and retention. It's always a balancing act of time management. And I'm a big believer. It's not so much time management; it's more about priority management. I've said that in the past several months. It's kind of become my mantra is like, your time, where you spend your time dictates and really reflects where your priorities are. And so it's not necessarily time management. You're really prioritizing what is important to you. So it's priority management. And so when you have so many things going on as a small business owner, you have to figure out what is most important to you now. What is most important to you in the next 24 hours? What do you need to get done now? And then obviously the entire time keeping in perspective the long-term goal and objective of the company and where you want your career to go and where you want that all to pan out. But I think a lot of times it's so easy as a small business owner to get bogged down in the day-to-day minutia of what's going on and really forget to look up and continue to keep that long-term focus. And I know I really mentioned that a couple of episodes ago, and it resonated for a lot of people as far as thinking long-term and really keeping your eyes set on what the goal, the purpose of your company is. But it's very tough when you're super, super busy, when you're in a seasonal business, when you are growing rapidly and you are hiring and firing and making decisions, and when people within your company are all working overtime like they are in mine right now, and everyone is really kind of stressed. There's a lot of stress, and people start getting sick and things like that. It's not fun. And obviously in those times as a small business owner, you have to make sure that you stay healthy, make sure that you do live somewhat of a balanced life as far as just to keep your body in the game. And so that's important, and making sure you get sleep and eat correctly and exercise, like those are the non-negotiables, and just to stay healthy and make sure you're still on top of your game. But it gives you a lot of perspective, and it makes you enjoy, like, the journey is what makes the destination so rewarding. The reason people fly across the country and across the world to go on vacation is because the journey of getting there, and the flight and the waiting and the expectation and buying the ticket and packing and the flight to to their destination, and the drive to the airport and the goodbyes and all the things they had to do to make sure that the house was going to be okay while they were away. All of those things leading up to the destination is what makes the destination so great. It's the journey. The journey to get to the destination is really what it's all about. It is what makes the destination so successful. And so I truly believe that someone that is just handed a bunch of money or success or wealth doesn't really appreciate it as much as someone that has to grind for it, someone that has to go through a journey, has to have ups and downs and discouragements and letdowns, and has to go through the bankruptcy, or has to go through hardship to get to the destination of being successful. I believe it makes the destination all that much more rewarding when they know they've made the journey has been one that they can be proud of. And so the long days, the short nights, the hours of kind of stressing over little things, and stressing over customers, stressing over customer service, stressing over the amount of work that's coming in versus making sure you retain your current customers, making sure that you hire the right people, but then at the same time you need to hire enough people, and it can be really, really, it can lead to burnout. And I talk to so many landscaping entrepreneurs especially, but just small business owners in general, that at these moments, they really do burn out. And I don't take lightly when people start talking about mental health and psychologically being emotionally being worn out during these times. I don't take that lightly. If people on my team say stuff like that or mention or insinuate things of that nature, I don't take it lightly as far as making sure that someone's healthy in their head, emotionally, that they are stable, and that's very important. And so making sure during these times when you are super, super busy, and I know so many people listening right now, maybe you're in a really, really busy season, or maybe you're going into one, maybe you are going through a season which is a little bit slower, but whatever it is, when you come to these times when it seems like you're overwhelmed and you are completely, you literally could work 24/7 and still have a lot to do at the end of the day. When it comes to those moments, I think it really does come to one thing, and that is priority management. Is what's most important now? And so constantly asking yourself throughout the day, what's the most important thing right now? And sometimes the most important thing to do at that moment is literally to do nothing. It's to sit, it's to be quiet, it's just to reflect, it's to think, it's to ponder, and it's not to do the next thing and stay on the treadmill. It might be to step off the treadmill for a while and take a break. It might be, take 5 minutes and look at a sunset. It might be take 5 minutes and read the book that you've been halfway through and never finished. It's the times that you have to sit back and really reflect on every single moment, every single day. What was the most important thing to do at that moment? And I know I mentioned on the podcast before, but we've always talked with our customer service and with our team that the most important customer is always the customer in front of you. And it's always funny when we ask that, and we always ask, our team members and things, who's the most important customer? And a lot of times we'll go to the customer that complains, the customer that's unsatisfied, because we, really try to make sure that we recover those clients. However, the customer that's most important is the customer that is in front of you at that moment, to be present with them in that moment and make sure that they feel that they are the most important. That means if you're talking to someone in the office and the phone rings, you don't answer the phone because the person in front of you is the most important person at that moment in time. And the same thing comes into play with time. The most important moment of every single day is the moment you're living in now. And so as you come into these moments in time and you come in these junctions of and seasons of your business where it does feel like every single hour of every single minute, every single day, backwards, forwards, upwards, and down, it just seems like the entire day is filled with things to do. There's never an end. There's never a finish line. When it comes to those moments, that's when you have to look at it is that in the exact same manner. The same way that the most important customer is the customer that is in front of you is the same thing when it comes to time management, when it comes to your day in general. The most important moment you're living in is the moment you're living in right now, because you get to choose what you do with it, and that is a reflection of what your priorities are. And so that's why I always come back to this when people start talking about goals or what their dreams or ambitions are. It's like, what do you want out of life? What is the goal? What's the purpose? What's the plan? What's your priority? What's most important to you? And from that, then you can map what you do in the next fiscal year, what you do in the next quarter, what you do in the next month, what you do in the next week, what you're doing tomorrow, and most importantly, what are you doing in the moment in which you are living right now? Because the most important moment is the moment that you live in right now. And if you can keep that in mind, it'll prevent you from burning out when you really feel like you should be burning out. And so, as I record this, it's late at night. I probably haven't had enough sleep. I won't get enough sleep tonight. I'll be working all tomorrow, and I'll be stressed at the end of the day probably because the crews will be a little bit behind, and I don't want to let down the customers. And I'll have a couple interviews tomorrow because we literally need 2 or 3 more individuals right away, and literally our schedule of jobs dictates that we have to have people hired within the next couple weeks, and we haven't been super successful in the past few days. We hired one more person 2 days ago, but we need more. So tomorrow, interviewing 2 more people. So this is constant evolution, right? And it's just so fun. Like, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. I would much rather burn myself out working on this business, working on the podcast and the conference and the gym and all the things that I have going on. I'd much rather burn myself out doing that than the alternative, which is, working 9 to 5, have no dream, purpose, or ambition when it comes, like, not feeling like work and my life have any sort of interaction with one another. It would be just, for me, very, very tough, and I wouldn't last very well in that environment. So the few moments, the few weeks, months, whatever it is, of burnout that it takes to get through these hard seasons, I'm happy to take those. And it's been a wild ride, and it's gonna be a great year. It's gonna be I'm kind of like, some of this is like self-therapy. You tell yourself this as I'm on the podcast, just saying, you're gonna get through this. You're gonna get through this. And but I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, I wouldn't have it any other way. And so if I've sounded like I've been absolutely drained or tired on the podcast today, I'm sorry, but I'm probably drained and really tired. And so I did want to sit down, and maybe by me being a little bit vulnerable and open about this, it'll help someone out there that might think that they're the only one that is in that position, when in reality, so many small business owners are in your exact same shoes. And I hope that myself, as one small business owner, echoing that would help someone out there who's going through the same thing to realize that the finish line is worth the journey. The journey is what makes the destination so incredibly rewarding. And so I encourage you to continue in the journey. Don't let up, and keep pushing through. Until next time, be great. Nothing else pays. This has been Mike Annies. You've listened to the Business Bootcamp Podcast. If you have a question on how to start, grow, or save your business, I'd love to hear from you. Just go to businessbootcamppodcast.com or email me at businessbootcamppodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time.